Welcome back to Decisive Campaign's Battle for Bastogne. This is a continuation of a previous battle, and of course, this is getting closer and closer to the ending of the fight itself. Now, as you can see, guys, we have liberated the 47th over here pretty well. Now, we still have to deal with this German line and deal with the German attack coming from the north and evidently the northwest. That's not somewhere I would ever expect the Germans to attack in this situation, but we are encircled, so that's got to make some sense at least. First things first, guys like Pile, etc., I'm just going to keep them kind of at the border here. I think we may have already engaged some of the enemies here, and now we're down to a potential post-damage phase. That is opening fire on these guys with some anti-tank guns and howitzers. In fact, we're going to try and hit Stein, but as you can see, I think we already fired in the previous stage. I'm just checking all of the enemy here. Now, we could actually get a pretty good ranged attack with this unit here, Decisive. Let's go for it. Typically like to stay away from the ranged attacks with infantry there, and that's why. It doesn't typically lead anywhere. What about one more shot over here? Doesn't look like it. Let's take a look at our southern flank, folks, and see if there's anything left to do here. And indeed, we can probably move in with Brown and do a little bit of damage here. A 10-to-1 attack with that armored division. It's coming from the 9th Armored. You can see M4 tanks as well as veteran GIs here. We're going to attack those Fallschirmjägers all out. Beautiful. They retreated, falling back once again. And what we want to try to do is consolidate this encirclement. I mean, just look at all of the prisoners we could take here if we do this correctly. Unfortunately, as you can see, this area over here and this area over here are just very hilly, wooded areas. Getting through there, we're going to need quite a few action points. And we've already attacked through here once or twice. So we're not going to attack there. Definitely seems wiser to wait until next turn, if at all possible. I'd love to dip through and take Hollange, but I feel like doing that would allow the enemy too much of an advantage against us, actually. So yeah, it looks like these guys in the south have moved. It's time to end the turn and see what the Wehrmacht does. We do, however, have 6 armored division. Glad I didn't forget about these boys. And let's move them into the fight. Also, just make sure that we don't have anybody in the west still waiting to get in. I wouldn't worry too much about these guys right here. These are roadblock units, and they're doing exactly what they need to do, and that's hold on to these roadblocks. In fact, I'm going to send one right into the city of Bremen, just to be extra safe. Any cards we want to play this turn? Yeah, let's bring in some replacements. All right, folks. Oh, I believe it's nighttime. Now, this is where the Germans could absolutely do a secret breakthrough, reinforce their lines, any number of things. And they're getting on the road right there west of us. Now, that could cut off supplies for the rest of our entire army. So, of course, we want to be careful. Here at Bastogne, it looks like they tried to push through. We did hold them back, but not without difficulty. And there we go, guys. It is nighttime. Obviously, at night, we've got a lot more to worry about. Our encirclement plans, they're not going to be as simple, I don't think, here at night. What we are going to try to do is just get rid of some of these blockers here, like Belka. In fact, I'd like to bring that armor up. Try and hit that gun. That's right, we've got an AT gun right there. I don't know if it's going to be worth attacking, especially since at night our guys cannot move nearly as far. If we could bring Abrams up here for the attack, I would have used him, but it doesn't look like he's going to get that attack this turn. So let's fire over here. No return fire expected. We'll actually throw a few more howitzers into the mix, just trying to destroy those German anti-tank guns. Not bad. We killed a few horses and, of course, some artillery. So I'd call it... I guess we can call it a victory. Let's push him forward. Let's take Jacques. And Jacques, I'm also going to send to the western area here. I think that's really where the enemy breakthrough could happen. As for the rest of these units, let's take Sure, or we could go ahead and attack that Fallschirmjäger unit. Yeah, I think that's probably safest. First, I'm going to move the roadblock unit up to defend the city. And that's right, we're sending a roadblock unit into some deadly combat. Let's pull them out and just send in the troops here. No, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go all-out attack on these Fallschirmjägers. And that's a great example of an awful attack. This is why at night we've got to be careful. I knew better. I was just testing my luck there. Let's also get this general up close. This way he can deliver supplies. So at night, probably best to avoid our attacks unless we know for sure we're going to break through here. And even over here, even with the tank, you can see that's not a certain attack at all. Now over here against Belka, I feel a little more confident. But 3-to-1 odds. Let's just do a standard attack here. Overall at night, yeah, they're doing much better. Look at that. We lost 20 rear area men, 3 trucks. Just no good. We did manage to wipe out, it looks like, 10 Panzerschreck. Absolutely not worth it. So what I'm going to try to do, especially in this southern point, guys, I am going to try and just hold the line pretty much. Oh, look at that. They are prepared, so send one down this way. And as you can see, we've got a bit of a line forming here. As long as we've got those roads covered, I don't think the enemy's going to have an easy time getting in, put it that way. Now let's try and send a unit to Noville. Sure enough, they are going to be waiting there with some units. Now what about opening fire here on Vogel? Let's just fire with some howitzers. See if we can't soften up the infantry in this area. A single man down. Keep him here and hope he gets replacements. And this is one unit I am confident in attacking because it is just a roadblock unit. So we're going to do an all-out attack here, and sure enough, he fell back. It looks like there may have been a commander unit in there too. Does anybody know what Sicherung is? There is staff here, so there's definitely staff commanders that we hit. That is always nice. With O'Hara, again, let's just have him hold his position. We're going to start moving the roadblock unit up there to assist. And I'm actually going to move this artillery unit farther out, not so much because I'm trying to get a better position, but because I want to defend that road right there. Let's take a look northwest. Once again over here, we should be able to attack in force. We'll only use one of our infantry. Beautiful. And here we go. So again, just going for encirclements wherever I see the opportunity. Ranged attack here. Might as well hit him with 2 howitzers. And actually, for a night ranged attack, 5 enemy, I'd say that's definitely worth it. Now, over here at Fosset, this is what I was telling you guys about the enemy cutting us off all along the line. If we're not careful here, they could get to Humon and cut us off. And already at Fosset, they're causing us some serious problems. So I'm going to push northwest with some of these units, try to get over to the Fosset area. I'm even going to bring our 35th Combat Engineers. We saw earlier in the battle just how tough those guys are. In some ways, better fighters, at least in this battle, than a lot of our infantry units. Make sure these guys are following their men. Just stay in position of the men. I'm really frustrated that we couldn't get Belka out of the way. That guy is just a pain. Just back up a bit, make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. One thing we could also do, guys, is use a card to build a temporary bridge right here. That would make things move a lot faster. So let's see if we can play new bridge card and put it right there. What about right there? Play card. There we go, guys. So now, we can easily just move our tanks right across, including our infantry, right across the new bridge there. Now, of course, the enemy could shut that thing down pretty quickly, but I think it's a decent start. Push forward. I think that'll have to do for now. Let's just really quickly maybe bring in some additional replacements. We could also bring in another armored division. I don't really think we need another armored division, though. I hope that the guys we've got right now can hold. So let's hope I'm right, and let's end the turn here. Just taking a look at different conditions, fuel reports, etc. Things have been coming in all right. They really have. Ending the turn, and of course next turn will be morning. At least it'll give us an opportunity to head out and attack, but maybe the enemy will have fully repositioned at that point. I like to see our intercepting howitzers and mortars, even M7 priests getting in on this action, but a lot of movement on the German side. Mostly from the east, though, and I'm not as scared of attacks from the east. I think we've got a pretty good line there with the 15th Infantry Division. Panzerjägers. And of course, with -3 Celsius conditions, it's not comfortable out here in the snow, not even slightly. Looks like the enemy's trying to soften us up there with some artillery. Pretty serious. Over at the Bastogne area. This is north of Bastogne, but also a very important town to hold on to. And we managed to hold firm. The 501st still holding firm against those attacks, guys. Of course, the Germans are throwing everything against us, and even our very small roadblock division managed to hold on, although I do believe they did have some support there from other divisions. Round 9 it is. So December 26, 1944 is the last turn. I believe that's coming up pretty soon here. Yeah, we are in the morning of December 25th. Alright, guys, still trying to close this ring around the enemy. Abrams can certainly go in for the attack. We're even getting the roadblock unit in here for the attack, and the enemy is doing their best to hit us with arty before we can really do anything. I'm going to take a bit of a risk here and move the tank forward, the tank destroyer with Jacques, because I want to see if we can't wipe out this rear unit, this Fallschirmjäger, which I think puts his buddy in front in an even more difficult position. In fact, we're even going to move the tank there. We could roll through with the tank right through this German position. I'm taking the risk. Nice! Really nice. Now, we did lose 2 tank destroyers in that attack, so you can decide for yourself whether or not it was worth it, but now we're going to move up here in the south and hopefully move these Fallschirmjäger units away from the area. Maybe even get them to retreat. Not bad, not bad. And look at that. We can do a follow-up attack, guys. Absolutely wonderful. So I think these follow-up attacks are going to result in the enemy being cut off. You can see that encirclement getting better and better for us and worse for the enemy. So the only reason I moved that guy this way was simply to get more routes for the attack. But really, I want to hit that German unit first, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the emblem. I know for sure that this is an elite German division. The Auflackung, I believe, is it a Brandenburger division? What's it called? It's one of the elite divisions. Not SS, I don't believe. And they capitulated. All right, we've got some surrendered elites. And again, closing that encirclement even more. Once we shut down this road right here, I think it'll only be a couple of turns before the enemy in this area is completely out of supply. Make sure that we're holding on to Bournon. And let's see if we can put some more pressure on existing Fallschirmjäger units. Really want to expand this attack. So I'm throwing just about everything I can into it. Oh, unknown odds. No way, man. I think the enemy is fighting more desperately because they know what awaits them. And that is total capitulation here. Yep, 1-to-1 odds just is not good enough. They must have a really decent position right there in this. Looks like a sort of a wooded and maybe uphill area. If you guys look at the geography there. Although, actually, this area is actually right next to the uphill area. So I wonder what makes that such a good fighting location. liberating the town of Surrey. Now, that's not an ambush, it's simply artillery fire. That is an ambush. So they're absolutely still holding on to some of these towns. We're moving right through with armor to make sure that he is within supply range. But don't tell me they already destroyed our bridge. No, I don't think so. I think we're good. So let's see if we can punch through here. And I must say, the odds are not with us, and this is a very wooded area. So I'm not all that surprised. It's not exactly the easiest area to deal with. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to hit that area. We know there's a lot of enemies there, so I am going to call Broken Arrow on that area with artillery. And from what I can see, we did hardly no damage whatsoever, so that's definitely a strong position. 2-to-1. In this situation, I will accept the odds, but I'm going to recon and force. So the second we start taking serious hits, we fall back. It looks much worse than it actually is. All of these guys are retreated with only a couple losses. But that is definitely a pretty strong enemy position here in the east, and it makes sense. The east, that's where Germany is, of course. That's where they're getting their reinforcements from for the most part. Of course, they're still getting reinforcements from the north and even the northwest, considering our current frontline situation. I think it's time to put Cherry on the front line. He's done a great job before. So let's have the 101st Airborne here really take it to the enemy there. We've got a Pioneer Battalion and a KG Vogel unit. That's definitely an SS designation. There we go. Massive enemy damage, although we did have one of the guys on our side panic. You can see here, though, some serious damage to the enemy. 80 Volksgrenadiers killed, 70 Pioneer, 50 Volksgrenadiers with STG-44s, and a few Maltier combat vehicles. So that's not bad. Of course, Vogel is going to have to push back. Although here in the north, I don't believe we have nearly enough units to do any sort of significant counterattack or encirclement. All we can really do is fight off their attacks. And occasionally hit the units that are right there on that road tile. Pretty much anything on the road, we need to try and eliminate post-haste. It's a good example right here. 101st also assisting with this attack, and sure enough, completely wiped out a few of the enemy units. More German prisoners for us. Why not, boys? Why not? Let's try and soften this guy up a bit here with some artillery fire. We could probably go for a follow-up attack, but not knowing what we're facing, I'm gonna hold off. And look at that! Sure enough, enemy roadblock units are becoming a problem. Roadblockers versus roadblockers is the name of the game. The truth is they're trying to get to Hubermont. Now, typically I wouldn't do an attack like this, but considering they are a single roadblock unit, I'm pretty sure we can overwhelm them. We're even using our artillery crew to do it. Incredibly, they still survived with one man. But we, for the most part, got them off the road. As you can see, though, just them shutting off the road here for a single turn could cause some problems for us. I don't think it's going to cause any serious problems, but significant enough for me to want to go out of the way just to eliminate that unit. And there we go. Now Flamberge is once again open. We're getting supplies through here. Everybody's getting their lucky strikes, their food rations, and letters from home. And that's what's important. Try and keep that morale up. Keep the trucks running, boys. They're looking pretty weak over here, although if we zoom out, they absolutely still have fighting strength, and it looks like that line extends all the way to where their reinforcements are coming in from Germany. So we do want to just keep that in mind. Another opportunity is to cut off the enemy at Torchamps, and that would cut off this entire German army. But I think that's asking for a lot. What I think we want to go for is the Hump Salines grab, cut them off over here in this area, and I think we could take a lot of German prisoners at Holland. Just making sure that these commanders remain close to their armies. I'd also like to get Jacques in there, but I don't think we can move in this turn. And I'm not taking Sanlez this turn, because it would be pretty easy to cut us off there. What about here? Well, assuming the enemy doesn't send anything from Ambarlok, I think we're going to be okay. This is the one final attack I might do right here, is take O'Hara's men, although he's been through a lot, and try and hit that Vice Division. And actually, that was well done. We destroyed a Stug. Although I'm not that surprised, O'Hara is a damn good unit. I'd like to take the roadblock unit and just put him into Ardennes, just to be absolutely certain that we're not going to lose that town. But, we're going to have to take a few risks here, I think. Just to make sure, I'm going to fall back with the 501st to Bizori. And we'll pull that artillery slightly back. Same with the anti-tank gun. We could actually force them into a bit of a conflict by putting them on that tile, but pretty sure that no matter how weak the enemy is, they're going to do serious damage to an artillery unit. Now, over here, we could hit Schmidt. The problem is our guy is almost out of fuel, out of supply, and that's not nearly going to be as good of an attack as I wanted it to be. What if we bring in another 502nd unit? Oh, that's looking much better. They actually held out pretty well. We only killed 2 of them, and they held that position. And unlike us, as you can see, their supply and fuel situation is just fine. That road north at Bethomont still poses a serious threat to us. Alright, guys? Oh, we've got some Fallschirmjägers, so they are definitely dropping paratroopers in to resupply and reinforce their existing units. And it definitely looks like those are fresh units going for Bastogne. And a lot of Fallschirmjäger units still in that gap that we're trying to create, or that, I should say that encirclement that we're trying to create. They're not giving up yet at all. In fact, some of these guys are breaking through north, breaking out of that encirclement. We're going to have to try and push them back in if that's the case. But I definitely did not expect the Germans to have this much left in this battle. No wonder Bastogne was considered an absolute slugfest by the Allies. Yep, they broke north. Look at that, guys. So trying to sort of increase this pocket area. Well, we're just going to try to close them in. Some intercepting fire on our tanks, man. They're not giving up easy. Let's get Snafu in on this attack. A lot of you guys will remember these names from the Band of Brothers series. They do have a lot of the units, or I should say the character names in here, as well as the unit names. I'm not sure we're going to get a chance to attack, but yeah, no. So with that, with those artillery strikes, they essentially shut down our infantry's ability to attack in this situation. Now, we could still go for the AA gun here, and I think we should. Let's just send in one of the 101st Airborne units, though. And sure enough, they panicked. Lots of destroyed German trucks. It's exactly the kind of result we want. I gotta say, the AI in this game, and I think you guys can tell over there by Sanez, is pretty damn good. Like, they know enough to know that they need to expand this front, and that's exactly what they did with that Jaeger, Panzer Grenadier, Fallschirmjäger group north of Sanez. They're doing whatever they can to hold on. I'm still gonna move in, but they've got plenty of reactionary artillery fire here, which makes it a little bit harder for us, I'm not gonna lie. So here's what we're going to try to do. We'll leave that unit right there. They expect us to attack that unit, right? So let's send in Abrams with some tank support. And sure enough, managed to do a tremendous amount of damage. See, now, guys, we've got Hartmann trapped right here. Now the Fallschirmjägers have to fight to the death. And I think, yes, despite the danger, we are sending everybody through just to try and get a surrender there. Full retreat. I love to see that. But, of course, that was not without losses on our own side. I mean, that was a rough battle, no matter how you look at it. There we go. Enemy moves back. And I believe we have our gap. Although it's a very sloppy gap if we don't follow up here and try and truly hold it. So first things first, I want to make sure this Fallschirmjäger doesn't escape. Man, they are so tough in this area. 4-1 just to get rid of 10 men. And we did force them to retreat, but look at that. Wiping out a half-track, wiping out a truck, one bazooka unit, and another half-track. So 2 half-tracks and a truck. I'd like to say that those guys fought damn well. Let's just be honest here. I'm going to follow up with the tank and hopefully just roll over them. I don't really want these guys as a threat anymore. But sure enough, that Fallschirmjäger unit is doing exactly what is intended. And despite being hit over here and being away from their lines, they're just trying to cause more havoc on our own lines. The goal is to hold us here as long as possible until more reinforcements arrive, and then they can shut down our army once and for all. Well, the Battle of Bastogne continues, guys. I hope you guys enjoy these fights, and I believe in the next episode we will be at the final part of the battle. There's only 4 or 5 turns left. Of course, a few things could still happen, though, and I'm really worried about this area right here and this area right here, the Ardennes-Rachamp area. We saw a lot of movement over there, and some of that was with fresh units. This is not the strongest line that we've got in the north and in the east. If they decide to break through, we could face some difficulty. Well, guys, if you liked the video, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and please share this with anybody you can, anybody that enjoys strategy gaming or enjoys the Decisive Campaign series. I really do appreciate it. Thanks so much, folks.